No, I did not know I was going to be a fashion designer. I knew that I wanted to work in fashion in some capacity from when I was about like 14, 15, when I used to watch The Hills and I would see Lauren Conrad doing internships for Teen Vogue and stuff, and I was like, oh, I really want to work for a magazine, or I want to work for a buyer or in a fashion house. I just wasn't really sure where in the industry I wanted to work in. And I think also like being Nigerian, where your parents want you to have like a professional job, and being a creative isn't really seen in that way naturally. So like I obviously wanted to do something that was really interesting, that I love, but also wanted to find like a happy medium. And then I think when I was living in Nigeria for the first year after university, my parents were like, what do you really, really want to do? And then I was finally like, I think I actually want to be a designer, and I think I could be good at it. So I started doing courses at Central St. Martin's to get started, to learn how to do it, learn how to sketch, learn how to start a company, start a brand, learn how to start collections, all those things. Gëto wasn't meant to be the name of the brand. Like I actually had a name in mind because my middle name is Tutu, and I really wanted to have a brand called Tutu that'll be like super cute, very much me. And when it was time to register the name, like it was taken. And I just started thinking, okay, I have to come up with new names. I would like I had a notebook, I would like write everything down. I had names like really silly names, like Tough Stuff, like just, it was getting embarrassing. And then one day I was watching a documentary on Netflix about like hip hop and rap music, and that's something I've been in love with my whole life. And kind of the identity of the brand is to merge both music, culture, and everything that I love into something and present it. So in the documentary, they were talking about the Geto Boys, and I remember just thinking like, oh, that spelling is so clever. Like, obviously everyone has known the spelling is G-E-T-O, and it was interesting, and I was like, oh, that could be like a fun play on, I don't know, like, on what the brand is, you know, that it's, the spelling is quirky, it's unique, and yeah, so that's how I came up with the name. I would say that they do. I'd say the brand ideology is kind of what relates to the name the most. It's kind of the idea of a ghetto in the traditional sense is not something that's seen as a positive thing. But my love for hip hop music and everything, and what the ideology behind that is coming through a struggle and creating something that's an art form, right? So when I came up with Gëto, I was like, how would that relate to what I'm designing, what I'm doing, and where I'm from would be seen to a lot of Western culture as a ghetto, the bad press that my country gets and everything like that. But it's a paradox because everywhere in the world, you go through struggles, you go through things, but taking that struggle and turning it and flipping it and creating something beautiful out of it, creating a company that is handmade, locally sourced, all in Nigeria, that can compete with Western companies is pretty much what we embody completely. It's mostly to do with, in terms of being yourself and being free, I find that in terms of fashion today, it's very much like you feel as if you have to be in some sort of box. And part of the beauty of dressing up to me is that every day you can be a new person, you can be a new character. So what I love about Gëto is that every collection, every piece, you can always mix and match and be something different that day. And that's what I mean by be yourself, be free, because anyone can shop a Gëto collection. Any style you have, you can always find something that will work for you, will work for your body shape, will work for your personal style in terms of colors, in terms of glitter. If you don't want glitter, if you want to be more plain, more tailored, we have things like that too. It's just, the idea is to not feel as if you're confined into a certain look, and that you can create and be expressive. In terms of starting my brand, I always knew I wanted to be something that was sustainable. and I wanted it to be something that wouldn't cause harm to the environment, but actually help the fight against climate change. And also just in terms of, I feel like when things are made ethically, then it's also more special. So for me, like if I'm shopping and the process is something that's very carefully done, carefully thought through, I would feel better as a buyer. So I feel as someone who's designing for people, it should be done. So from the fabrics that we choose to the process in which we design. So for example, we make things to order. So we never have any backlog of products because everything is made specially for the customer. Even down to our bags being reusable and actually a fashion statement in themselves that people want to reuse the bags and take them to places and everything. All of our scrap fabric is made into do-rags and scrunchies, all so that we could just make as little waste as possible. And that's kind of the idea behind the brand. I don't want to waste anything. I want everything to be used. And anything that we don't use for one collection, we always find a way to bring it into the next. So those are the ways in which it's sustainable. And then ethically crafted, we're quite a small team. And the team works together to create the collections as a group. So our tailors, down to the beading, down to the design process, it's all in-house. I think my personality has a lot to do with what the collections look like, but I also think it's more my personality, but the things that maybe I would have been shy to wear when I was younger. When I was younger, this is a bad example because I'm wearing all black, but when I was younger, I used to strictly wear black. I would be scared of color and things like that. And when I got to my early 20s, it became really interesting to me to actually start expressing myself through color. And also when it came to art, when I was in school and things like that, I always loved working with color. When I started Gëto, I really wanted something that even people who are afraid of color, it could become kind of like entryway into loving it and loving putting different colors together, colors that you don't even think necessarily would have gone well together, putting them together and creating something fun. My favorite part of the design process is definitely the research phase. I am a very obsessive person, so I become obsessed with things like different time frames in history, different subjects I did in school, different textures, different colors, and I just enter a bubble of research. And I think it takes me about 2 to 3 months to research something before I even start sketching anything. Then I start researching silhouettes, researching different sorts of workwear and trying to create something new, trying to create something fresh. Because something I realized is that it's very easy to get bogged down and just start making what everyone else makes. And the only way for you to truly be individual is to really put in that research time, really take your time with it. It can be frustrating. It's like you're going back to school, but it actually really helps me to create everything. Because when I even do that, I also start thinking about how I want the shoot to look, how I want the, promo video to look. It all just works together because there's a theme running through from beginning to end. I would say my biggest inspiration was Virgil Abloh. There was just seeing someone that looked like me in terms of color in those sorts of spaces was extremely motivating and exciting. This is even pre-Louis Vuitton. I just remember thinking wow, this person is so inspiring. And there was a clip I watched of an interview he did when I was younger, and it was him saying that if you want to start something, just start today. Don't wait on it. Even if the money isn't really there for you to be a huge production, start something. And that has followed me through everything, because immediately when I watched that was the next day I started my brand. I see Gëto going international. I see us being a strong representative of our country around the world. I see Geto
bringing out a lot of confidence in young men, honestly, I
just see people feeling confident, and I see Gëto bringing a lot of joy back into the fashion industry and making it like a very safe space, a happy space. I think everyone does. I honestly think everyone does. But I also feel like the older you get, obviously not everyone is that lucky, but the older you get, you sort of learn to accept yourself, and you're not going to be anyone else at any point in your life. Like, you know, when you're a teenager, when you're a kid, you obviously go through self-esteem issues at some point. But when you get older and you start to love yourself and love what you bring to the table, then you're unstoppable. I am 27, and I would tell 15-year-old Samantha that you are not going to be a Disney star. Please put the mic down. That is what I would tell her.